of the Urban Renewal Agency for Monday, May 12th, 2025. Will you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the recorder please call the roll?
Board Member Tigan. Board Member Nishioka.
Here.
Board Member Matthews.
Here.
Board Member Gwynn.
Here.
Board Member Brown.
Present.
Board Member Nordyke.
Here.
Board Member Varney.
Here.
Chair Julie Hoy.
Here. And is Councillor Tigan making his way in to the meeting?
He was supposed to be on
Oh,
Zoom.
thank you. Okay. Okay, perfect. He'll be in at 6:30 apparently. All right. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
There are none.
Thank you, Council President Nishioka. We are on to public comment. We have none. Councilor Nishioka, could you please address the consent calendar?
Yes, I move to approve the consent calendar. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second by Gwynn. Councilor Nishioka, would you like to speak to the motion?
To my motion, thank you. The consent calendar consists of the minutes from the April 28th Urban Renewal Agency minutes, and that is it.
Short and sweet. Thank you. Any discussion about that? Will the recorder please call the roll?
Board Member Brown.
Aye.
Board Member Nordyke.
Aye.
Board Member Varney.
Aye.
Board Member Tigan, absent. Board Member Nishioka.
Aye.
Board Member Matthews.
Aye.
Board Member Gwynn.
Aye.
Chair Julie Hoy.
Aye. All right, we have no public hearings, no special orders of business. We're on to information reports. We have the Urban Renewal Agency Fiscal Year 2025 Quarter 3 Financial Report. And that is all. Nothing further than we are adjourned. Okay, I'd like to call to order this meeting of Salem City Council for Monday, May 12th, 2025. Will the recorder please call the roll?
Councillor Tigan is absent. Councillor Nishioka.
I'm still here.
Councillor Matthews.
Here.
Councillor Gwynn.
Here.
Councillor Brown.
Present.
Councillor Nordyke.
Here.
Councillor Varney.
I'm here.
Mayor Julie Hoy.
Here. Thank you. Councillor Nishioka, are there any additions or deletions?
We do not have any additions or deletions this evening.
Thank you. Okay, we are on to council and city manager comment. Would anyone have anything to share this evening? Councillor Nishioka.
I'll go first. I have a couple things. I just wanted to make comment about, I encourage everyone to stay engaged as we move through the budget, or as we move through the budget committee process and the decisions we're facing directly affecting our community services, and to be quite aware of the levy that is on the ballot for May 20th. And I know that some of my fellow councilors are canvassing and spreading the word, and I am doing so too. So let's keep up the good work. I also want to make note that in about 2 months, July 20th, we will be having again the Ironman 70.3 here in Oregon. Salem is the chosen place. It is a very favorite among those that do half Ironmans. and they are still looking for volunteers. So for anyone that might be interested in supporting this event, you can sign up by going to Ironman 70.3 Oregon and register as a volunteer. They're especially looking for people that can help the bicyclists, the swimmers, and medical professionals. So just throwing that out there. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Nishioka. Councilor Nordyke. Whoops.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is my final pitch for the levy. So when you get your ballot, and you should have it by now, you are going to be deciding what kind of future you want for the city of Salem. This is not a drill. This is not a drill. If this levy passes, we retain funding. We keep funding our library, our parks, our senior center, and our youth sports camps at the levels we are at now. And maybe, just maybe, we get a few more hours of the library. That's it. These are all preventive services. The city does two things, preventive and reactive. One helps the other. Preventive services prevent crime, prevent trips to the emergency room, maintain and enhance our quality of life. If you look at the voters' pamphlet, there's a statement from our first responders in there, which, by the way, thank you, our police employees union, our firefighters union, and our city employees union, go AFSCME, for endorsing this, because they know that two things are going to happen. Number one, that when you have parks and libraries, you are preventing crime and keeping kids out of trouble. It's in the voters' pamphlet. These are not my words. And secondly, they know, and our public safety people know especially, that if this does not pass, the cuts come to them next. If this does not pass, there will be even more cuts to make the following year. You know, under the city manager's proposed budget, which Budget Committee has now passed and is sending to council, that if this levy fails, our library in West Salem closed for who knows how long. Our main branch cut down to 20 hours a week. I already know there's going to be mass confusion. I can already imagine the single mom with the 4 kids in tow coming to the library at their usual appointed time and realizing that taking 2 buses and getting the kids all fueled up and ready to go to the library now means they have to get back on a bus and go home. That's what it means. So this loss of funding would really help reshape Salem's future into a capital city that has effectively decided that the preventive services don't matter, and that the low-income individuals who depend upon those services don't matter. We've heard time and time again from that podium right over there from Center 50 Plus folks, our seniors who have depended on that senior center for wellness checks, for the free lunch that they qualify for the dignity and wellness that comes from going to a central meeting place. It will be made clear that none of those things matter, evidently. And again, once you lose funding, it is so hard to get it back. So I urge you all to vote for that levy. Take out that ballot. I know it's sitting on your kitchen counter right now. Check those boxes and get it mailed in. I urge you with every fiber of my being to do this. This is a do or die moment for the city of Salem. And for heaven's sakes, don't vote against this simply because you don't like me or don't like a member of council. Do not punish our staff because you want to see a politician fail. Don't do that. Think of the individuals. There will be at least 30, 37 or so city staffers who will lose their jobs if this fails. 51 total positions cut because we already feel the pain. And the final thing I will remind folks, why don't you just tighten your belt And I will remind you, in case none of the prior meetings have shown light into your TV, in case you haven't been paying attention, we have been making cuts. We made $6 million in the prior fiscal year. We made another $1.5 million or so in this year. We've enacted even more cost controls. We're doing everything we can, and we know from independent business leaders and independent auditors that we have been operating on a shoestring budget for a long, long time, that all of our departments are understaffed, every single one of them. I don't think a single one of our departments has the level of staffing they need to give the delivery of services for everyone. So I urge you, this levy is for everyone, and it will reshape Salem one way or another. Either we have, for a time period, dedicated funds for these essential services that cannot be taken and given to anything else, or we don't. And if we don't, it is going to be extremely hard to get back. So please, please vote yes. Vote yes for Salem.
Thank you, Councilor Nordyke. Anyone else? Yes, Councilor Varney.
Thank you very much. I wanted to put in a pitch for the levy as well. I echo a lot of what Councilor Nordyke said. I have noticed, representing West Salem, we don't get a voter's pamphlet. And there are a lot of people that are not aware of what's at risk. And I noticed when I was out talking to on Saturday, one guy said, wait a minute, I take my 8-month-old to story time. You mean that is in jeopardy potentially? And I said, yeah. And then folks don't know the West Salem Library is going to close. They're not aware that there are city-sponsored camps and team events that are not going to happen if the levy does not pass. I did get some questions about the recreation guide. We didn't even print one this year for that very reason. Probably one of the biggest eye-openers and things that relieved people, at least in the conversations I had, were the separate dedicated account for the revenue generated from the levy. That gave them a real sense of security that those funds weren't going to be used elsewhere. And so I wanted to just speak up and mention that that is part of that, and that's probably, since they don't get the voter's pamphlet, that's probably a piece of it that they missed out on. Anyway, everybody remember to vote, tell your neighbors to vote, and if you know somebody in West Salem, fill them in. I'm doing the best I can with videos and knocking on doors and everything else, but we need to get the word out. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Varney. Anyone else? I keep looking for Paul Tigan to appear, but he's not here yet. Well, thank you for what you had to say about the levy, and I'm in agreement. We need this, and our community, I feel, deserves this, and we hopefully we will be successful. Thank you. Okay, if there is nothing further, we are moving on to our proclamations. We have 2 this evening. The first is recognizing the Monarch pledge, which I appreciate so much. Are Linda and Ken Byerly here? Yeah, would you please come forward? Thank you for being here. Okay. Whereas the monarch butterfly is one of the most iconic and studied butterflies in North America, widely admired for its beauty, and whereas the monarch butterfly is extremely beneficial, pollinating many cultivated flowers and crops, and serving as an indicator species for the ecological health of large geographical areas. And whereas the monarch butterfly's annual migration, which has been described as one of the most spectacular in the insect world, is now classified as a threatened phenomenon by the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. And whereas the western population of monarchs, which overwinter in California, has declined by more than 99% since the 1980s, from an estimated 4.5 million monarchs to less than 30,000 counted at overwintering sites in recent years. And whereas a major reason for the decline is the widespread loss of the milkweed plant, the only plant monarch butterflies lay their eggs on, and as well as it being the monarch's primary larval food source. And whereas the entire community can play a critical role in providing habitat for monarchs and other pollinators by planting milkweed and nectar plants and reducing pesticide use. Now, therefore, I, Julie Hoy, Mayor of the City of Salem, do hereby proclaim on May 12, 2025, that I will continue to participate in the Mayor's Monarch Pledge. And through the signing of the National Wildlife Federation's Mayor's Monarch Pledge, commit the City of Salem to voluntarily help restore habitat for the monarch and encourage all people of Salem to do the same. Dated this 12th day of May, 2025.
And I'd like to thank you on behalf of the Glen Gibson Watershed Council. We have been participating with the City of Salem, both Public Works and Parks Department, helping to establish pollinator gardens in some of the parks, but also in some private properties. We've been supported by Salem Electric Habitat Improvement Fund, and we've also gotten grants from Polk Soil and Water Conservation District, and worked closely with many of the community gardens around the community.
And the City of Salem also provided plants.
And we just planted a bunch of milkweed earlier this spring, so thank you.
Did you want to say
No,
something?
that's okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that we acknowledged
The City of Salem
gave plants.
gave plants.
Yeah, like boxes of.
Boxes of plants.
showy-
Very
showy
good.
milkweed and narrow leaf milkweed.
Oh,
and
wow.
Celosia, so you definitely, boots on the ground. You
Wonderful. Well, thank you to the City of Salem, and thank you for all your hard work and effort. All right. And is Meredith Greer present? Meredith, I just wanted to say thank you for helping to get that together. Thank you so much. Now, could we please have Kara Koo come forward? We're going to have Councillor Gwynn is going to present the proclamation for Salem Tourism Month.
Whereas the travel and tourism industry supports the vital interests of the City of Salem and the United States, contributing to employment, economic prosperity, international trade, understanding, and will, and whereas travel and tourism ranks as one of Oregon's largest industries, generating $14.3 billion into the state's economy, and whereas visitors to the Salem area contributed $793.3 million to the local economy last year, and whereas those travelers provided jobs for the 7,950 tourism and hospitality professionals in the Salem area, and local tax revenue of $31.9 million, and whereas people throughout the world become more aware of the outstanding culture, culinary, and recreational resources available in Oregon and the Salem area, travel and tourism will become an increasingly important aspect in the lives of our residents. And whereas, given these significant contributions to the economic, social, and cultural well-being of the residents of Salem, it is fitting that we recognize the importance of travel and tourism. And now, therefore, on behalf of Julie Hoy, Mayor of the City of Salem, we do hereby proclaim May 2025 as Salem Tourism Month and encourage all residents to support the spirit of travel. Dated this 12th day of May 2025.
Thank you very much. I would just say thank you so much to everyone who contributes to the tourism economy. Obviously, COVID was very, very difficult for all of us in travel and tourism and all the restaurants and groups in Salem, but everyone here is so resilient. And I think that resiliency has helped this industry rebound, and we appreciate all the support as we just continue forward to create that economic impact, positive economic impact for the region. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kara. All right, we do have one presentation this evening recognizing the city's Fleet Services Division, ranked as the second-ranked public fleet service in the country in 2025 by the National Fleet Services Association. Is anyone coming forward? No? Yeah. Okay, let's go. Jim and his team. Okay, Jim and your team, please come forward. All right, today we celebrate our fleet division being ranked number 2 among all public fleets in North America. A remarkable endorsement of our team's professionalism and innovation. By keeping 98.7% of vehicles mission ready, we help deliver the safe, livable, and sustainable capital city to our residents that our residents expect. We've cut fleet-based greenhouse gas emissions by more than 1/3 by switching to renewable diesel, real progress toward our climate action plan goal of 50% reduction by 2035. Reliable vehicles mean timely emergency response services that touch every neighborhood and every resident. More than 25 continuous improvement projects, from right-sizing vehicle classes to idle reduction, prove we are proactive, data-driven, and transparent stewards of taxpayer dollars. Our success is shared with partners like Napa IBS, those whose 93.2% 3-hour parts fill rate keeps downtime low. Let's applaud our fleet employees and look ahead to claiming the #1 spot next year.
Thank you. I think it's my turn now. So first of all, congratulations to Jim and his team on this outstanding achievement. And they're number 2 among all public fleets in North America, and this is the second time we are number 2. So I just want to kind of mention that. And we have been in the top 25 times. So they have quite a few accomplishments. I would like to kind of focus on what this achievement really reflects, our connection to the city's mission of fiscal sustainability. So it confirms we can deliver quality services and fiscal discipline simultaneously, stretching every general fund dollar further. It also focuses on operational excellence. In case you haven't visited the fleet facility, I would highly encourage you to go and take a tour. It kind of shows how they operate the floor to how they manage the different equipment. It is actually a fun one to kind of take a tour on. It also reflects the incredible work the fleet division has done on data-driven management, and this also has a link to our workforce values. By piloting electric and zero-emission vehicle replacements, we prioritize cleaner air in neighborhoods most burdened by pollution, demonstrating our pledge to be an inclusive city government. So I want to, before I close, I do want to kind of congratulate the team on this incredible achievement, and not just one time. This is the 7th time they have received an award at some level. So congratulations.
We are moving on to public comment for items which are on the agenda for this evening. Do we have anyone signed up for that?
We do have one person signed up.
Thank you. Okay, we have one person signed up, Ronald Pereira. Okay, please come forward to the podium and make sure the green button's on. When you have 1 minute left, the orange light will flash, and when your time's up, the light will flash red. The green button on the bottom there. There you go. Sir, please announce your name and your address or ward for the record.
Excuse me, say that again?
Could you please announce your name and your address or ward for the record? That would be great.
My name is Ronald Joseph Pereira II, and I live in Ward 97301. I'm not sure which ward that is. Yeah, so the reason I'm here, go ahead and speak. Yeah, the reason I'm here is about the camera, the speeding camera that you have around, and I submitted a letter with a lot of details about what's going on, because it's a legal issue for me, and it's just an efficiency issue for you guys. And well, Judge Eleanor Beatty, who oversees the municipal court, she allowed the police officer who testified when I spent a month investigating and finding out what my rights were, and it said that the police department had to say when the speeding camera was calibrated and when the officer was trained. And when I asked when I went to court at Judge Beatty in Salem, the officer did not cite when the camera was calibrated, and he did not cite when he was trained, and Judge Beatty did not dismiss it. Also, when I have a clean record, and Judge Beatty, according to the policy there at the municipal court, are supposed to allow a person without a driving record to go to driving school, and she did not allow me. After I questioned the police officer, she did not allow me, and when I asked her why, she said, because I'm the boss and I make the rules. And when I called the clerk the next day, the clerk said, that's not right. I didn't say Judge Beatty, but I just asked, and she said, no, our policy is if you have a clean record for 5 years, you can go to driver's school. And Judge Beatty blatantly denied me that right. And I believe that if the city council is going to make $7.2 million, they need to make sure that citizens aren't being criminalized and being harshly treated by the justices that oversee that program. Also, Portland, the city of Portland, they have a warning system. I thought that it was a good idea to have a warning system, or to give a warning first. Salem does not. And some cities forbade these cameras even from being in because they make money off of citizens. Salem is not a rich town, and it's making a lot of money off of people. They could give a warning first. I believe that this is harsh and predatory. It's a good idea, to save people's lives and to make it safe, but you need to make sure that you're not criminalizing your citizens and being harsh and, and not training the police officers and whatnot. Before my time is up, and it should be up pretty soon, I talk a lot, I wanted to let you know that Hispanic, I'm a retired school teacher, Hispanic is a disrespectful, controversial term when you say Hispanic month, and it's tied to colonialism. And I also wanted to recognize Dr. Brown for his nomination. I was going to a few NAACP meetings, and so I just wanted to say congratulations, Dr. Brown, and go Louisiana.
Thank you, Mr. Pereira. Thank you for being here.
And that's it.
Okay, we have no one else signed up for public comment relevant to tonight's agenda. Other public comment will come in a little later. We are moving on to the consent calendar. Council President Nishioka.
Yes, Mayor. I move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second by Gwen. Go ahead with your motion, Councillor Nishioka.
Thank you. The consent calendar consists of the April 28th, 2025 City Council minutes and the recommendation to adopt Resolution 2025-8 declaring a public need to acquire and the City of Salem's intent to negotiate for the acquisition of easements for the State Street South Side sidewalk improvements. Boy, that was a tongue twister. And that concludes the consent calendar.
Thank you very much. I'd like to acknowledge Councillor Taigen has entered the meeting.
Councilor Matthews had it.
And Councillor Matthews, did you have something to add?
I should have asked this before, and I think with this particularly, I have a conflict, and so, or I have had a conflict with this before, so I should probably recuse myself on this particular issue.
Councilor, that's fine. If I could ask you to just announce the nature of the conflict.
I believe one of the properties that would be affected by this, I'm a real estate broker, and I had listed at one point in time. I don't now, but I did, and so I don't know if, and I may in the future again.
So you're going to recuse from participating in the vote?
My options are, I guess if it's a possible conflict, I don't have to recuse, right? I just have to declare?
That's correct.
Okay, then declare is fine, so I'll vote.
Thank you for that, Councillor Matthews. Anyone else have anything to offer on the consent agenda? Will the recorder please call the roll?
Councillor Taigen.
Aye.
Councillor Nishioka.
Aye.
Councillor Matthews.
Aye.
Councillor Gwynn.
Aye.
Councillor Brown.
Aye.
Councillor Nordyke.
Aye.
Councillor Varney.
Aye.
Mayor Julie Hoy.
Aye. Motion passes. Let's see, we have no action items, no public hearings, no special orders of business. We're on to information reports. We have the City of Salem fiscal year 2025 quarter 3 financial report. The planning administrator decision, a new paved storage area for blue box storage is approved. That's item 6.C. Did I miss B? Oh, I missed 6.B. The city's fiscal year 2025 quarter 3 financial report, an update from the Salem Police Department regarding several key department programs and services, automated license plate recognition, online crime reporting, police review completion, and electronic traffic enforcement cameras. That is item 6.B. Item 6.C is the planning administrator decision, a new paved storage area for blue box storage approved. 6.D, planning administrator decision, a subdivision to create 5 new lots, including 3 flag lots approved.
Madam Mayor, may I just make a comment?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say 6.D, I support the land division because it aligns with Salem's commitment to making more middle housing available in our neighborhoods, trying to increase density. So I just wanted to make a comment that I'm very pleased about this. That's all.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Councillor Nishioka. Councillor Matthews.
I just wanted to ask on 6C from staff, if I could, did the applicant have any comments or any issues with the expectations?
All right, we are on to 6.E, the planning administrator decision, tree regulation variance to remove trees and vegetation to install a sanitary sewer line was approved. Yes, Councillor Varney.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to make a comment. I realize that removal of 23 trees in the riparian area, I mean, I realize this needs to go in. You know, my concerns are, even though our regulations, our code says that there's no evidence that the property is a habitat for any threatened or endangered species. And I just wanted to mention, when we take out the trees and the brush and everything, you know, there are impacts to the stream below, the flow, the temperature, et cetera. And just because we don't have evidence, because nobody's been out there looking for endangered steelhead, for example, doesn't mean that they're not there. So I just wanted to make that comment, but I really did have a question. When the trees get removed from a project like this, what happens to the trees? Can anyone tell me? Are they, and the reason I'm asking is because a lot of times we use trees for in-stream habitat improvements. And I was wondering if that's something that these trees could be used for or what they're used for.
Good evening, Lisa Anderson Ogilvie, your planning administrator. So the code says the tree should remain in the stream unless they're going to cause some sort of hazard or maybe they're diseased or something. So generally we ask our natural resources staff what they prefer because they know more about the stream. And in this case, I think they said it should not remain there, should be removed. And then we put a condition about replanting native vegetation and trees.
But when those trees get removed, does somebody purchase them for habitat projects or do you know?
I don't know. They're not city-owned trees, so I think it's up to the private property owner about what they would want to do with them.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Nishioka.
Thank you. To your point, Councillor Barney, I think, and maybe some staff can answer this question, I believe that when some city trees are cut, they are saved to potentially make park benches or birdhouses or things that go into parks. I've heard that in a couple neighborhood associations, that a tree was saved that was removed from a park to be able to build something that's going to be put in the park. Can anyone address that?
Excuse me, this is Gretchen Bennett, Acting in Capacity Community Services Department Director. I don't know the answer to that, but I'd be happy to find out in return, unless someone here knows.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else?
No, and I want to tell you that I jumped the gun on my other one. It's the next one, but that's okay. I won't say it again.
All right, great. Moving on then to item 6F, the planning administrator decision to create 2 parcels for 2 existing dwelling units was approved. Okay, good to go. Thank you. Item 6G, planning administrator decision, the development of a new 12-unit multifamily building approved. And that's it for information reports. We have no ordinances. We do, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Yeah, I see it. Okay, yes, we do have an ordinance. Will the recorder please read it for us?
Item 7A is ordinance bill number 5-25, an ordinance declaring certain territory located at the 2500 block of Michigan City Lane Northwest and the 3300 block of Levi Street Northwest annexed to the city of Salem, prescribing zoning and withdrawing the territory from the Spring Valley Rural Fire Protection District.
Councillor Nishioka, would you like to make the motion?
Thank you. I move to advance the ordinance bill number 5-25, approving annexation, applying city zoning, and approving withdrawal from the Spring Valley Rural Fire Protection District for a territory located at the 2500 block of Michigan City Lane Northwest and the 3300 block of Levi or Levi Street Northwest to second reading for passage.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Gwyn. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the recorder please call the roll?
Councillor Nishioka?
Aye.
Councillor Matthews?
Aye.
Councillor Gwyn?
Aye.
Councillor Brown?
Aye.
Councillor Nordyke?
Aye.
Councillor Varney?
Aye.
Councillor Tigan? Councillor Tigan?
Aye.
Mayor Julie Hoy?
Aye. Motion passes. We have no second readings. We do have public comment. And I will call 2 names at a time. We only have 1 podium, is that right, functioning? This podium over here is the only one working. I'll call 2 names just so the second person can be ready to come forward and speak. You'll have 3 minutes. When 1 minute is left, the yellow light will flash, and when your time is up, it'll turn red, okay? When you come forward, please announce your name and your ward or your address for the record. I'm calling Giovanni Talento and Heather Appleberry. Not seeing either of those folks come forward. How about, I'll go back if they come in. How about Shala Colson? Jeremy Robbins? Are you Shala? Okay, great. Thanks for being here. Please announce your name and your ward or address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Okay, my name is Shala Colson. I live at 468 Snoopy Lane Northeast in Salem. Okay. Fellow Salem residents and any advocates for justice who are here tonight, we, the group I'm with, Salem Democratic Socialists, as workers and Democratic Socialists, stand united in demanding that all contracts and financial incentives granted to Avelo Airlines be terminated immediately. This company has aligned itself with the anti-immigrant agenda by signing a contract with ICE, enabling deportation flights out of Arizona, for now. Salem might be next. Flights that disturbingly include the deportation of U.S. citizens without due process or judicial oversight. Avelo Airlines has made it clear, profits come before people. Their actions show a blatant disregard for human rights, the integrity of families, and the rule of law. While it's true that the City of Salem has not allocated general funds directly to Avelo, the airline still benefits significantly from public resources. They enjoy waived landing fees and free terminal space for 2 years, concessions that represent real value. Furthermore, Avelo receives a $350,000 revenue guarantee from Travel Salem and up to $850,000 from the federal government, of which $445,000 has already been dispersed this year. Opponents of divestment argue 2 points. First, that Salem cannot afford to sever ties with Avelo, and second, that fears around deportation are the unknown. To this, I respond, Salem cannot afford the moral cost of continuing this relationship. If we want to save money, let's start by addressing the excessive use of force by Salem police, which has already cost taxpayers millions of dollars in lawsuit settlements, 3 so far just this year. And deportation is not a distant or hypothetical threat. It is a current and devastating reality. I refuse to have my tax dollars, whether city or federal, support a company complicit in human suffering. No amount of economic incentive can justify sacrificing the rights and dignity of human beings. It's time we choose values over convenience, justice over comfort, and people over profit.
Do we have Giovanni Talento yet? Okay, come on forward. Please announce your name and your address or your ward for the record. You'll have 3 minutes. When you have 1 minute left, the light will flash yellow. When your time is up, it'll be red.
All right, thank you. My name is Giovanni Tolentino. My address is 771 Boone Road Southeast here in Salem. And I am ready to begin whenever I'm allowed. Okay, thank you. Again, my name is Giovanni Tolentino. I am the proud son of immigrants, a first-generation college graduate, and an English language development teacher. I not only grew up facing language barriers and the fear of deportation, I work with students who experience the same anxieties I did growing up in the American education system. These are students who ask me what their rights are at home and at school, who ask me if they are safe every time they walk into the classroom. Counselors, you have a clear choice to make. Fight for workers' rights and human lives, or prioritize profits and blood money. The Trump regime has left zero doubt about how far they are willing to go, deporting citizens and non-citizens alike, including children with cancer. They have also purged Palestinians from this country like Mahmoud Khalil and Mohsen Mahvali for the crime of speaking out against Israel's genocide in Gaza. By partnering with ICE, Avelo will not be a mere passive observer in the Trump regime's bloodlust, nor will this council. They will go down in history as the Gestapo-like enforcers of a fascistic takeover of our institutions. I am unsure how much members of this council will respond to my appeals, so I make my final appeal to attendees tonight. Join the labor movement, join your union or a mass member organization like the Democratic Socialists of America, and ensure that the capitalist class and their cronies cannot ignore the pressure. Thank you.
Has Heather Appleberry made it in? Okay, great. Go ahead, Heather, you'll have 3 minutes. Yep.
Good evening,
And please
Council.
announce your name and your ward or your address for the record.
My name is Heather Appleberry. My address is 842 Edina Lane Northeast, Salem, Oregon 97301. I'm here tonight to demand that the City of Salem immediately cancel all contracts and incentives with Avelo Airlines. This company does not share our values, and it has no place in our city. Avelo Airlines has contracted with ICE, an agency responsible for deporting 3 U.S. citizens, including a child with cancer. ICE has defied court orders to return wrongfully deported individuals like Armando Abrego Garcia, and has even deported legal residents for speaking out against human rights abuses. Salem is a city of compassion and justice. We cannot allow our tax dollars to support a company that enables such cruelty. When Avelo employees tried to unionize in 2022, the company hired a notorious union-busting firm to stop them. Though workers ultimately won, Avelo later spent thousands to decertify their union. Salem is a union city. We cannot tolerate a corporation that attacks workers' rights. Right now, Salem faces budget shortfalls threatening libraries, senior centers, and parks. Yet Avelo has already taken $450,000 in public subsidies, with $1.2 million more available. This is our money. It should fund our community, not a corporation that exploits workers and collaborates with ICE. Avelo recently shut down flights in California after taking ICE money. Their business model is clear: take public funds, exploit workers, then leave when profits dip. We cannot let Salem be their next victim. We urge the City Council to terminate all contracts and incentives with Avelo Airlines immediately. Redirect public funds to essential services, not corporations that harm workers and immigrants. Stand with labor and immigrant communities by rejecting any future deals with anti-worker, anti-immigrant companies. If you believe in justice, workers' rights, and responsible budgeting, join us in this fight. Salem must not support corporations that betray our values. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Jeremy Robbins and Peter Burgo will follow.
Hello, my name is Jeremy Robbins. I live at 1815 24th Street Northeast in Salem. City Council and fellow Salem residents, our city's strategic plan commits to values of opportunity, compassion, responsiveness, and accessibility. The plan's vision is of a safe and livable city with a sustainable economy and an environment open to all. These values and vision are no longer compatible and really never were compatible with our contracts and incentives with Avelo Airlines. As many of you know, Avelo recently signed a contract with ICE to run deportation flights, abducting fellow Americans and even fellow citizens, often to forced labor in a country they've never known. even if Avelo brings some benefit to our city, we cannot claim to embrace compassion and accessibility by stifling it elsewhere. How can the capital city of a sanctuary state fund deportations, let alone illegal ones, with our municipal resources? Even then, Avelo does not actually benefit our city. In just the last 3 years, it has run 2 company-wide union-busting campaigns trying to stop its workers from exercising their democratic rights, and then successfully decertifying the union even after workers voted to form it. Salem is a union town. Poor quality jobs and an authoritarian work environment are not how we understand opportunity. In addition, Avelo's business model is pure robbery, as recently shown in California by the closing of flights out of a Bay Area airport. They come in with promises of bringing business, they siphon municipal funds, and then leave as soon as the margins go down. $450,000 in fee waivers, rent waivers, and grants, with $1.2 million still on the table, is wasted on Avelo. It will not foster a sustainable economy because the company will cut and run as soon as they've taken all they can. That's money we could spend on our library, our 50+ center, our parks, and other essential services that are the true groundwork of not only a sustainable economy, but an environment open to all. So far, 350 neighbors, friends, and fellow workers have signed a petition demanding an end to Salem's contracts and incentives with Avelo, with more signing every day. We demand, and we trust, that our elected leaders will show responsiveness to the ways Avelo undermines our values, vision, and quality of life. Thank you.
Peter Burgel and Mai Vang will follow.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the council, my name is Peter Burgel. I live in Ward 2. And my family, my parents, came to this country in 1941 as refugees from Hitler. My grandmother died in Auschwitz, the concentration camp over there. So in my family, we're very sensitive to the idea that people are becoming undesired in their home country, the one where they grew up, were born in or grew up in, or came to later on. And so when I heard about this contract, I was very disturbed indeed. And I wrote my counselor and I wrote another counselor and I said, let's do something about this. Can we cut off this contract? And they said to me, well, no, we can't do that because it would open us up to lawsuits from Avelo, and we can't afford that. And I thought, well, okay. And then I found out later on that maybe that's not even true. And that, in fact, the fact that we are a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state sets up a set of conditions that the contract was written under, and when they violate those conditions, the contract may no longer be valid. That's something that I don't know enough about to tell you if it's right or wrong, but I think it requires a request from the Attorney General to tell us about that. So I'm going to suggest to this council that you go to the Attorney General and ask whether that is in fact true. But whether or not that's true and whether or not you take the action that I'm suggesting, which is to cancel that contract, and which all these other people have been suggesting as well, I think you need to do something. You absolutely need to do something. We cannot allow this company in a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state to operate as though they were doing business as usual, when what they are doing is the same thing as the companies that were running the trains to the concentration camps in Germany in the Second World War. We can't allow it. We shouldn't allow it. We're morally compelled not to allow it. So I ask you, if you can't cancel the contract, do something. Please do something. Thank you very much.
We have Mai Vang and then Tiffany Vu.
nhớ rằng cái tin đánh trả sở đời của lúc bây giờ mãi vang ở trong nơi chỉnh kia của tôi hay ở bên lo lu mono. Good evening, everybody. My name is Mai Vang, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to give some public testimony today. I am a resident of Ward 6 and also a candidate for City Council for my part of town. Thank you, the City of Salem, for recognizing May as Asian American and Pacific Islander Month. I want to highlight a particular day this month because it is close to my heart and has literally shaped the values I have today. May 14th is Hmong Heritage Day. This day is significant in our Hmong history because on May 14th, 1975, the last U.S. airlift evacuated the remaining Hmong soldiers and their families from Laos. These Hmong soldiers rescued American airmen during the Vietnam War. Many of these soldiers and their families became political refugees and were resettled in various parts of the United States, like Montana, where my parents were resettled, and right here in Salem. That was 50 years ago, and I am so proud to live in a city that is compassionate and welcomes so many people from so many walks of life. As we move forward, I want to continue to invite all people and perspectives to the table to help build Salem and make it a stronger community. I believe it is this diversity that helps make Salem vibrant. As a first-generation Hmong American and resident of Ward 6, I invite the mayor, the city councilors, and the rest of Salem to help to recognize and celebrate May 14th as Hmong Heritage Day with the Hmong community right here in Salem, in the U.S., and across the world. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Tiffany Vu and then Sandra, I believe it's her or Heb.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, good evening. My name is Tiffany Vu, and in fairness, I live a few footsteps outside of Ward 5, but I hope that you will allow me to continue to speak as a concerned member of the Salem community and as a former Avelo customer. When Avelo Airlines first came to Salem at the end of 2023, I was grateful and proud. Grateful that I had an option to more easily reach my family in a time of need, and proud that I had an option to travel that would directly support my city. After Avelo's recent decision to begin flying deportation flights for ICE, which has repeatedly and openly violated the rights of due process guaranteed to all people in the United States by our Constitution, I no longer have pride, but shame. Based on ProPublica's reporting, let me describe what happens on these deportation flights, such as the ones that Avelo began to fly out of Mesa, Arizona today. These detainees are kept shackled hand and foot for the duration of the flight. This makes it impossible for a deportation flight to be safely evacuated in the event of an emergency, in violation of federal aviation standards. Flight attendants, whose job it is to help evacuate people safely, have been given no training on how to assist more than 100 shackled people off of a burning or an unsafe plane. I quote a flight attendant from this report. That was the normal briefing. If a fire occurs in the cabin, if we land on water, don't check on the immigrants. Just make sure that you and the guards and the people that work for the government get off. When the Attorney General of Connecticut wrote multiple times to the leadership of Avelo asking for assurance that the airline will not operate its deportation flights with this unlawful and inhumane disregard for the safety of the human beings in its charge, how did Avelo answer? They didn't. They told the state attorney general to file a public records request that ICE could take years to answer. That's the respect that Avelo Airlines shows for the rule of law. It fills me with shame that our airline, the one airline that services our city, would show such callous disregard for human rights and for this nation's laws, all to make a few $1 million. The city of Salem is tainted by association, and will be for as long as it continues to do business with Avelo while remaining silent about its unlawful activities. We've heard this evening about the importance of supporting tourism in Salem, and I am not ignorant of the economic impact that terminating Avelo's contract would have on the city. I do not dismiss the many years of hard work that many people in this city have put to bring commercial aviation back. I don't want people to lose their jobs. I don't want more money to be taken away from our library and senior center and parks and city services. Yet I also ask you, look at the constituents, the faces of your constituents gathered here tonight. Families that look like theirs, families that look like mine, are being torn apart, transported, and trafficked by this airline. Is it worth it to have your residents live in fear and shame?
Thank you for your testimony. Your time is up.
Thank you. I urge you to take a stand for human dignity. Please do not support this airline.
Thank you for your testimony. We have Sandra and then Roberto Garces.
My name is Sandra, and I reside in Ward 5. I am here today in solidarity with all immigrant communities who are being targeted and terrorized by the federal immigration enforcement across the country. I ask the City Council to stand on the right side of history and support the demand we have for you today. The City of Salem must terminate its contracts, including any grants or financial assistance with and for Avelo Airlines. Avelo Airlines, like many corporations, are profiting from the blood of immigrant communities. 7 people have already been unalived while in ICE detention. Over 100,000 people have been deported since January without due process. Despite of the terror that ICE is perpetrating on our communities, Avelo Airlines accepted $150 million of their blood money only to improve their profits. This means that Avelo is not only willing to deport people, but they are also willing to put their lives at risk, as it was mentioned before me, by operating airlines filled with people who are restrained and handcuffed. The collaboration between ICE and Avelo is simply inhumane. It is wrong. It is deplorable. As a city that has provided at least $2 million for airport infrastructure and staffing, it is our duty, it is our responsibility to address what Avelo is doing and the decision they made to have a contract with ICE. By continuing to financially support Avelo Airlines, the City of Salem is indirectly violating Oregon's sanctuary law, because this city is providing direct financial support to a company that is providing services for federal immigration enforcement. So today, you will have a choice. Your names will be added next to the people who defended and stood for justice, even as their own positions in society were threatened. Or your names will be added next to the people who caused terror. They will also be added if you decide to turn a blind eye towards the treatment and persecution of immigrants and all other groups being targeted. Because, like Archbishop Desmond Tutu once said, if you're neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. And in this case, the City of Salem is not just neutral, it is directly aiding Avelo and their contract with ICE.
Go ahead, Roberto Garces. Please announce your address or your ward for the record and your
Hello,
name.
my name is Roberto, and I'm a resident in Salem, Ward 5. I've lived here all my life, for almost all of my life, and drive past the Salem airport every day. My father's work is in the area, and not once have I considered that it would be used to take my community away, and yet here we are. I look at each and every single one of you, knowing that my community can and will be taken away if you continue this contract. I never would have thought that this city, in the so-called sanctuary city of Salem, would be in union with ICE to be the deporters of my community, and yet here we are. But I see things clearly now, especially when I pay taxes to this city that my community can be taken away at any moment. My taxes should not be used to fund Avelo Airlines, period. No money of mine should be used to deport people regardless of how financially and morally bankrupt Avelo Airlines is. There should be no revenue guarantee agreement with Avelo when my family struggles to pay bills. There should be no Avelo contract when there's a visible rise of people sleeping on the streets. This money should go back to the community you serve, the youth that are sitting all around you. You're telling all of these youth that deporting their community, that deporting their family members is the future. Look at them in the eyes and tell them that you're going to deport them by continuing this contract with Avelo Airlines. This money should go back to the libraries, back to the schools, and back to accessible housing. It is your responsibility to find and create other jobs without entertaining Avelo's plans of racist, inhumane deportations. You also cannot proclaim to welcome diversity when you make contracts with Avelo. Profiting off of undocumented people's misery sure makes you stand on the right side of history, but we the people, we the community are record keepers. Don't forget that. End the contract with Avelo without exception and without hesitation.
Thank you, everyone. We do have one person signed up online, Paige Barton. Ms. Barton, I believe you know the drill. It's 3 minutes and all that. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Paige Barton, and I'm a resident of Ward 2. I have been watching this meeting, and I know that the issues facing the city are massive. So the context of my comment feels a little bit petty, but I'm here to talk about a Facebook post that I read this weekend. It was made by McMinnville Mayor Kim Morris. I know that I've already communicated with City Council by email, but I would just like to raise exactly what my concerns are for the record. Mayor Morris says in her post that she spoke to our mayor last Friday, and she's alleging that due to clearing out Wallace Marine Park for summer softball tournaments, that Salem was relocating unsheltered people to McMinnville. She talks about a conversation they had, and that our mayor was kind and understanding and assured her that the city didn't do this. Mayor Morris says in her post she thinks it might have been a frustrated business or citizen. She says that our mayor said that she would make inquiries to let people know that this wasn't okay, and thank you for that. But this post has been shared 17 times, including by other McMinnville city councilors. I think that they're trying to create a narrative that is a perceived or actual increase in the houseless population is coming from Salem. So I don't think that's appropriate for another mayor to do that from their official platform in a public way. I think that it causes others to make assumptions about our city's work for homeless people. It creates a misleading and untrue narrative. And these are human beings, and our city doesn't do that. If this is actually happening, I think that this may be illegal. So whatever is actually happening, I would like to request that our city manager or the city council direct the city manager possibly to request that the city of McMinnville retract Mayor Kim Morris's statements, or that our public information officer to make a clarifying statement. I was contacted by Gretchen Bennett today to explain to me that what the city actually does. And I appreciated that very much. But I think that an allegation has been made by another city that we have to respond to. It may need to be investigated, or we may just need to have people treat each other with respect. And so I just wanted to go on the record and state what my concerns for that are. And I really appreciate your time listening to me tonight.
Thank you for your testimony. And I did have a wonderful meeting with Gretchen to discuss the subject, and I do plan on making a follow-up call with Mayor Morris to discuss. And so thank you. All right, we have nothing further. We are adjourned.